Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Marcus Bruno. I'm a very committed and dedicated real estate broker. I own a real estate brokerage in Maryland, and we are focused on serving the beautiful people in the Baltimore, Washington area. Here's my contact information. Please jot down the phone number if you have any questions during the webinar. Please give us a call, or I'm sorry, send us a text. That's the best way, because I can't answer the phone right now, but send us a text, 301-531-4290. I want to introduce my very good friend, loan officer, Robert Spees. Rob, say hello.
Hello, how are you?
Rob, this is Rob's phone number there if you want to contact him. And Rob's going to help me out, answer some very important mortgage questions. Couldn't do this webinar without him. Robert, how long have you been in the business?
Going on 14 years right now.
And I've been in the business for about 15 years. So
Yeah.
there's about 30 years of real estate experience on the line right now. We haven't seen it all, but we've seen a lot. So let's just dive right in now. This workshop is being recorded. We're going to go through a lot of information. So not to worry if it gets a little over your head. We're going to record it and you'll have access to it. So this is what we're going to cover. First of all, I'm going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about the cost of buying. We're going to get into some dream programs. And if you have any questions, feel free to text your questions in and we'll cover them at the end of the webinar. Again, the number is 301-531-4290. So what's the truth? What's the truth? Can you handle the truth? Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? And a lot of people think it's a buyer's market for some reason. You get that a lot, Robert? People think it's a buyer's market?
Yeah, I have for a while. It's starting to sink in right now to people.
Okay.
And the sellers have the upper hand right now.
It's a seller's market. Here's the reason why. See this this slide I have up? It's a seller's market because there's fewer sellers than there are buyers. There are more buyers in the market, and the buyers start to outbid each other over the fewer homes on the market, and that makes the price of homes rise. And so we're in a seller's market, and I can prove it to you. This slide, the next slide, is the actual real estate market in Prince George's County right now, actually over the last 10 years. And if you see back here in 2005, 10 years ago, there were only 1,000 homes on the market. Now, keep in mind, there are 900,000 residents in Prince George's County. So there were 1,000 homes on the market, actually less than that. And the market was very fast paced. And then in 2008, the crash came, and there were nothing but foreclosures and distressed properties and homes that just won't sell. And so we almost reached about 8,000 homes on the market. And then fast forward, 7 years later, 8 years later almost, and now we're about 2,000 homes on the market. So now we're back into a market where there are just not as many homes on the market to fulfill the demand. It's about 700 homes sell every month. I track it's boring stuff, but I love it. So right now we're getting into the sales market. And now you can take a look at Montgomery County's market. It's kind of like the same thing, where in 2005 was slim pickings, 2008 just 6,000 homes on the market, and now they're over 2,000. There's a little more. There are a little more properties in Montgomery County. It's a bigger area. They have over 1 million people in that market. Also, distressed properties are on an all-time low. Well, in the last, let's say, 5 years, they're at an all-time low. About 9% of the market is distressed. Most of that is short sales. And it's a good idea for you to research that and figure out what a short sale is versus a foreclosure. We're not going to get in that today. But again, the market is slimming out. However, I do like the home prices because I don't feel the home prices are going to be going up much. Even though we're in a seller's market, I don't think the home prices are going to fluctuate as much because big factor is everybody's renting. So the rental market is super hot. In fact, we're at 1995 home ownership levels. I think we're about 65% of the population are homeowners, which again, that's 1995 levels. Everyone is renting, which is causing the price of rents to go up, and the demand of rent is going up, which is going to keep the home buying market kind of where it is, I believe, at least for the next 6 months to a year. That's for sure. Okay, so let's talk about rates a little bit. Rates are good news. Rates, that's good news, right, Rob? Like, what are the rates at today?
I've gotten 3.25 today.
Three
on
and
FHA loans. It's unreal.
Wow. When's the last time you seen rates this low, Rob?
It was probably summer 2 years ago.
Oh, summer 2 years ago.
We hit all-time lows. I mean, literally, it was all-time lows, and we're almost back there.
And they're thinking, they're projecting that the rates are going to go up. No one knows for sure. But if the rates do go up, they're projecting, maybe 4.7 by the end, 5% by the end of the year. Again, no one really knows. What's your insight on that, Rob?
I wish I had my crystal ball today. All the economists have been saying rates are going up for so long. Right. And I mean, at some point they're going to be right.
Yeah.
And I'm always scared that it's going to be soon.
Right. We just don't know. But let's just say rates did go up. If you're purchasing a $300,000 home today, let's say the rates will be 4%, that's not the case. It'll actually be 3%. But by the end of next year, your property would have gone up about $12,000 in value just because of inflation. If the rates do go up, as you can see by this chart, you'd probably have a difference of around $240. So it's not much of a difference, but that's what could happen if you decide to wait a little bit longer. So let's talk about the cost of buying a home. Homes cost a fortune. No fans or buts about it. Homes cost a lot of money. Let's run through a scenario here where we can see exactly how much a home is going to cost. So when you're purchasing a home, my slides are running a little late. There you go. When you're purchasing a home, you have to account for the down payment plus closing costs. So the down payment plus closing costs equal how much money you need to bring to the table. All right. Now we're going to use 3.5% as a figure here. That's an FHA loan, and we'll get into what that is. But we're going to use about 3.5%, which is customary. Maybe about 70–80% of people go FHA. And then closing costs are about 4.5%. That varies also, but we're going to use 4.5% as the number right now. So if you're buying a $275,000 home, the down payment is going to be $9,625, and the closing costs are going to be $12,375, and altogether you're going to need $22,000 to purchase a $275,000 home. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how to reduce that $22,000 to very low or no money down, period. Okay, and we're gonna get into that right now. So, what are some of the dream programs that are out on the market? Well, let's get into some definitions. All right, first-time home buyer, Rob. How would you define first-time home buyer?
Anybody who has not owned a home in the last 3 years.
3 years. Okay, so chances are you may be a first-time home buyer and you don't know it. And that opens you up to a lot of programs. So if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you are a first-time home buyer. And just to note, 46% of all buyers were first-time home buyers, which I thought was a pretty cool stat. Conventional. How would you define conventional, Rob?
Conventional is just a loan that's not insured by the government.
Okay. A loan that's not insured by the government is a conventional loan, and then that would make FHA a loan that's insured by the government. So those are the two differences. And then there's VA, which is a veteran affairs loan. And let's get into a little bit of the VA loan, Rob. So you have to be a veteran to get a VA loan, of course. The pros of VA loan are that it's 100% financing. So if you're a veteran on this call, VA loan is definitely for you. There's no MI. And Rob, can you define, tell everyone on the webinar, what is MI, or mortgage insurance?
Mortgage insurance is just something that a buyer pays. It's there on all FHA loans, and it's there on any conventional loan that you get with less than 20% down, which is most conventional loans for first-time buyers. And mortgage insurance is an insurance that you pay, which protects the lender. And it protects the lender in case you do stop making your mortgage payments and they have to foreclose on you. That mortgage insurance company will reimburse the lender a certain percentage of the loan amount.
So Rob, in your estimate, just off the top of your head, on a $275,000 home, how much would the mortgage insurance be?
On FHA loan, 275.
Yeah.
As of right now, it will be about $310 a month.
$310. So using a veteran affairs loan with no MI, you would be saving about $300 a month, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Which is huge. And then you get tons of closing assistance with a VA loan. I mean, we're not going to get into it, but they can pay your car note and all types of stuff. And then the rates are about 3.5%.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Cons, Rob, can you think of any? And one more pro is that very low points, very low closing costs on a veteran affairs loan. Cons, can you think of any cons, Rob?
The only con will be that you do have to pay a VA funding fee, which is it gets financed into your loan amount, and for most first-time users, it's 2.2% of your loan amount. So you'll add. So on that same $275,000 loan, you're probably looking at $6,000 being added to your loan.
Cool.
If you're using it for a second or more time, it's actually 3.3%, I believe.
Okay.
And if you're disabled, it's waived completely.
It's waived if you're disabled. And
disabled vet.
I thought of another con, Rob, with the appraisals. I think the VA appraisals are tougher to get. I think that the values, where if you use a conventional appraiser, he would only have to compare the house you're trying to buy to maybe one or two more other homes. But then a VA appraiser, he needs to compare that home to, isn't it about 5 homes, Rob? 4 or 5 homes, something like that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not even 100% sure, because it's just automatically, we have to order the appraisal through the VA.
Right.
And they kind of take care of that from there. But you're right, the appraisals are a little tougher with the value than with the condition. So compared to conventional, it is a little tougher for the buyer, and really just the overall transaction is a little tougher in regards to the appraisal. Right.
And so the condition that Rob was talking about, basically the home condition. So you can't use a fixer-upper. You can't use a VA on a fixer-upper. The house has to pass a certain standard, or the appraiser will stipulate that these items must be fixed or repaired or replaced, which is not going to work on a fixer-upper like a foreclosure or a short sale. Rob, let's talk a little bit about, before we get into any more financing, I want to talk about this Navy Federal no down payment loan that's out now, which I think is a hot loan for the right people. Rates as low as 4.5%, no money down. Credit scores as low as 610. That's a very, very low credit score, actually. There's no MI. The Navy Federal actually allows 6% in closing assistance. So this is a very good loan for the right people. Now, when I say right people, I mean people I think with higher credit scores, because at that 610, you're gonna have to pay so many points that it doesn't make sense. So Navy Federal 100% financing is going to be a good loan for someone with higher credit scores, and also someone who's buying more expensive homes. compared to the other financing programs, it's going to work better. Fixer-uppers won't work on Navy Federal. Same problem that you may find with a VA loan. The appraiser may stipulate that some items are repaired, they may need to be repaired or replaced. And then also Navy Federal, you have to apply for membership to the credit union. Not everyone can become a member. But I want to highlight that loan because I think it's very, very good, and I have had a couple clients use that loan. Rob, let's talk a little bit about USDA, which is a government loan for properties in rural areas. No money down, low MI, very low MI. You can also finance your closing costs, and the rates are very good, 3.625, about 3.65 today with no points. Any of the pros you can think of, Rob?
You got it. I mean, you nailed it. The pros are there. It's a great loan if you can find one in a rural area and want to get into a home with no money down and low mortgage insurance. It's awesome.
Oh, no mortgage insurance.
I'm sorry, low mortgage insurance.
Cool.
Did I say no?
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure about that.
Yeah.
So rural areas, we have a map. I didn't include it in the webinar, but we'd be happy to send it to you of the areas. I just sold sold a home using this USDA, and it was an excellent deal. My client got a brand new townhome down around Akakeek. They paid all her closing. She did have to bring a little bit of money to the table, but she bought a $300,000 townhome, brand new, and she spent about $2,000 to buy the home. So if you could find a home in an area that you feel comfortable living in, it's going to be an excellent, excellent program. And again, with this USDA, no fixer-uppers. But we'll get into a program that does allow fixer-uppers. Just a couple, most of them don't. So actually, let's get into some of these down payment assistance programs, Rob. The Gaithersburg Home Ownership Program. I know you've got a deal using this program. It's only for.
Cool.
Go ahead. It's only for city.
It's cool. It's a good program. The only negative to this one is it's really limited to the city of Gaithersburg.
Right.
But if you're buying in the city of Gaithersburg, and you go through them actually to apply, give them all your paperwork, and you can get up to $20,000 to use towards down payment and closing costs with no real specific rules from them other than you need to have a 640 credit score.
Right. And then it's the way we organize the transactions, $20,000 will take you all the way up to maybe $300,000, and everything should get paid on your behalf. Also, it's a no interest loan that they're giving you. Most of these down payment programs are actually loans that they're giving you that don't require any repayment unless you sell the house or refinance the house. So that's how they give you the $20,000. They say, hey, look, here's $20,000. When you sell 20 years from now, we pay it back. So that's how
and
it works.
You just pay back the original 20, which is awesome.
Yeah,
There's
no interest.
Nothing is being added to that, which is awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, super sweet. You can't get any better than that. Let's talk about the My Home program, which is one of my favorite programs. It's a Prince George's County only program. Okay, they'll give you between $20,000 and $60,000 depending on your income. All right. This particular program says, hey, after 10 years, you don't have to pay that loan back. So they like for you to stay in the property for a minimum of 10 years. And
I think it's 15 now.
It's 15 now. Oh, okay.
I think they changed that at the end of last year. Sorry.
Okay, it's 15 now.
Yes.
Now, if you sell before 15 years, they may not require all the money back. It's a sliding scale. Am I right, Rob?
Right. Okay.
So you don't have to stay in the property that long, but if you make it to the 15 years, you won't owe a cent. The great thing about this program is that you can use it you can use it to purchase fixer-uppers. You can use it in conjunction to, we have a couple of rehab loans. Again, it's beyond the scope of this webinar, but if you use a rehab loan, you find a home that needs a new kitchen, you can actually apply this money to fixing the kitchen up. Or you can actually take a loan to fix the kitchen and use this money for down payment and closing assistance. There's just tons of options with this program. All right. Drawback with it is that it's a long closing period, about 60 days to close the loan, which makes it a little tougher when you're negotiating against or when you're competing against other buyers and they can close faster than you. That's a major drawback for this particular program. But the money is so good, you just have to keep on. You just don't give up. If you run into a home, you can't use the program, then you just find another home, basically. And then there's also quality control inspection, which again makes it a little bit tougher because the county is going to send out their own home inspector. And if you're dealing with a seller who, is not interested in going through all this whole process, then it's going to be tougher finding a home or getting that home under contract. But because the money is so good, you've got to try it. And we're doing plenty of deals using the My Home Pro, even though it has longer closing dates and quality control inspections. And then there's the Maryland Mortgage Program, which is one of my favorites. They call it the triple play. And Rob, you want to go into that?
This is the greatest program out there right now. You can one of the benefits and to kind of point out one of the tougher things sometimes with My Home is the income limits. They're going to restrict you based on your household size, and in a lot of instances, it's somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000 for your whole entire house. You have to make under those amounts. With the Maryland Triple Play, if you have one or two people in your home, you can make up to $128,000 as a household and still be eligible, or $150,000 if you have three or more people and still be eligible. You're going to get a $10,000 interest-free loan, similar to the other one Marcus was talking about, to get to start out, and that's all anywhere in Prince George's County. And if you buy it in one of 14 eligible zip codes in the county, you get another $10,000, which is literally a free grant, not a loan. You never pay it back; it's forgiven at closing. You get a really low interest rate, which right now is 3.375 on the government loans, FHA or VA, and 4 on conventional loans. And you actually get to take advantage of the third major benefit, and that's why they call it the triple play. This is not as exciting, but it's really great. You get a free Maryland homeowner's tax certificate, and that is going to give you up to $2,000 every year in a dollar-for-dollar tax credit every year that you own this home. Most people don't really get as excited for that one. You actually have to go through the Maryland Mortgage Program to be eligible for that at all. And normally you have to pay anywhere between $450 and $1,200 for this, and you get it free as that third benefit of the triple play. Overall, it's an amazing program.
It's an amazing program.
And it's really easy to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a couple deals that we're working on using the triple play. Now, you can use the Maryland Mortgage Program in other areas of Maryland, Howard County, Montgomery County, and Arundel County. And you're going to get between $5,000 and $8,500, depending on if you work for the state or if you live closer to where you live. If you live and if it was 10 miles away from where you live, you'll get an additional $1,500.
If you're a state employee, you get the $2,500. So you go from 5, everyone gets 5, and then you go to $7,500 as a state employee. And then if you're a state employee within 10 miles, if your home is going to be within 10 miles of your work, you get the additional $1,000 for the $8,500. Right,
and that's in all other areas of Maryland. And again, the benefit of this program is that it's geared towards higher income families, which are some of the other programs are not. And then the last program, Rob, I want to talk about is the DC Open Doors program. Now, I know that your lender is still working on getting affiliated, but I know that, a couple of years ago, we jumped off with this program. And what do you think about the DC Open Doors program, and what are some of the benefits?
DC Open Doors was good because they were going to give you whatever it takes to get you up to 100% financing. Meaning if you're going to get some closing cost help from the seller, to go back, that was one of the benefits of the triple play is you're getting so much you might not need closing cost help from the seller. But with the DC open doors, if you're getting a little help from the seller to cover closing costs, you should be able to get into the home with no money out of pocket.
Right.
It was a good program. The one drawback I really saw with that, and it was really the only one, was that the rates were a little bit high.
The rates were higher, and it's a Washington D.C. program.
DC.
And you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. All the other programs you do, but in DC, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to use that program. You just can't own a home at the time you're purchasing a home, and to use this program. So you have to have no mortgages currently owned in DC. No homes currently owned under. Well, I mean, there I go again. You just can't own a home in DC.
And I'm going to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
And I may have not told you this. In the triple play, I feel like I'm a salesman for this program, but it's just so good. You actually can be a move-up buyer.
Oh, really?
So if you've owned a home in the last 3 years, you're not definitely out of the running. The only difference is your home has to be in something called a targeted area.
Okay.
So you'd have to kind of run it by me or Marcus or somebody to make sure that the home was in a targeted area. But if you're a move-up buyer and you've owned it in the last 3 years, you can still take part in the triple play if it's a targeted area.
Cool. And then I think the triple play, as well as this DC Open Doors program, you can buy off the MI.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You can get yourself a really low payment by using the funds from these programs. Marcus had mentioned earlier about the FHA mortgage insurance that will be about $310 a month on a $275,000 loan. There's an option with a conventional loan if you're putting down less than 20%. Normally you need mortgage insurance, and you still do, but there's an option instead of paying it monthly where you can use the program's funds and make a one-time payment with those funds at closing to buy out the mortgage insurance so you don't have it in your monthly mortgage. So you can really get in the home with a much better payment by doing it that way.
Cool.
If your credit's pretty good.
And then I think there was a drawback with the DC Open Doors is that the max sales price is into the 400s. And in DC, that doesn't really get you a whole lot. But I thought that might have been a small drawback. And again, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. So no questions came in, Rob, but I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Give me some examples of some of the programs. Give me some real-world result happening. What do you got closing in the next couple of weeks that are using some of these programs? And can you kind of give us an idea of the savings and the mortgage payments and things of that nature?
Yeah, totally. We've got a loan that went in to processing with me on December 15th. It's a 200 and I'm going to give you the exact numbers because I don't want to make this up. But it's going to be closing this Thursday on the 15th. And it is, I'm going to give you the real number. It is a $282,500 sales price. The borrower is going to need $41 for closing.
Wow.
And their total monthly payment, including taxes and insurance, is going to be $1,897.
Wow. That's great.
Yep. $0 out of pocket. So that's one of the FHA ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to leave a little higher payment because it's the FHA mortgage insurance, and so the credit probably wasn't high enough to do the conventional where you buy out the mortgage insurance. But the key there is there's $0 out of pocket.
If it was a conventional deal, what would the payment be on that one?
That same loan would have been, I can tell you, would take out the $303 a month, so $1,897 minus $303, but then we got to add back the difference, which was about $1,655.
$1,655.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't rent a property for $1,655 right now, and you barely can rent someone for $18. So it's actually cheaper to purchase a property than to rent in some areas using some of these programs. We do have a question that just came in. Again, if you have any questions, text 301-531-4290. Hey, James, thank you for texting in. James wants to know what would be a good credit score to be at before exploring these programs. So what would you tell a borrower is a good credit score to get started with the home buying process?
You need a 640 to be eligible for the triple play. Most of them are 640. A couple of my homes, as a matter of fact, I can do with as low as a 620, and I can do a loan for someone as low as a 580. The real thing is start the process whenever. You know, if you think you are working on your credit and you think you want to buy a home, talk to a lender, talk to me or somebody else, and let them really help you get your score up if it's not where it needs to be, or find out maybe that your score is better than what you thought it was, because lenders are going to know a lot about credit, and they're going to give you the good advice on what to do with your report where it is now and how to get you where you need to be.
No, I agree, Rob. I think loan officers give the best advice when it comes to fixing credit than these credit repair people. Because for some reason, credit repair people, they don't really look at credit scores. They tell you, you know, how to, you know, they'll tell you their best advice or, you know, really common sense things. Yeah, pay this off, pay that off. But I find that loan officers give you the strategy on what to pay first, what not to pay, because you're not only trying to clean your credit up, but you're trying to build your score. And that takes a little bit of strategy. So I always appreciate your advice, Rob, when it comes to strategizing people's credit and they're getting their credit score up. So cool, Rob. Hey, thank you so much for being on this webinar, Rob. I appreciate your advice, and I appreciate everyone who's listening. Feel free to give us a call, email, text, visit our websites. We love what we do, and we're happy to help. So
we love talking about mortgages.
We sure do. And we're going to sign off. Best wishes on your home search.
Thank you.